Hello and welcome back to both the channel and the yard renovation. As you can see, this is an uncompleted project, and this here is a chainsaw. Now you're probably wondering what both of these have in common, and let me explain that in a little more detail.
Alright, so as you can probably tell, we haven't made a whole lot of progress this year. Reason being, we have had absolute record rainfall, shattering our prior rainfall record. We beat the all-time rainfall record for the month of July by the second week, and it rained for 28 days consecutive. Now let's just do some math there. So as you can tell, it's a little bit washed out. I didn't want to stand in the rain while shoveling this, and it's obviously a lot heavier when it's raining because it's soaking wet. I didn't want to have to deal with all the extra weight either, so I really couldn't make a lot of progress. And you'll also notice the other problem that this has created, which is that all the trees and bushes around the perimeter of my yard are now severely overgrown. So for example, all these shrubs that are on the downhill part of my yard, some of those shot up 5 to 6 feet in the course of a month. Some of those are now roughly 15 feet tall. And this tree here in the corner, that's about 25 to 30 feet tall at this point. And let me just say, it was not even close to being that height a couple months ago. Now here's problem number 2 with this tree really sprouting up is that it's growing into 2 separate retaining walls. This one here and the one that you can't see behind the rest of these shrubs. And I did another video where I described why retaining walls fail, and one of the explicit reasons I gave was that there's too much weight directly behind it from something like a tree growing. You see where I'm going with this. So not only is this physically growing into 2 separate retaining walls, but you can literally see here it is formed around the blocks of this retaining wall, and it is physically pushing it in as well. And I don't know about you guys, I really don't feel like rebuilding 2 more walls considering how much effort this first one is. And that, my friends, is why we have a chainsaw to take care of all of this. So congratulations, you've made it to Chainsaw O'Clock. Every now and then I do like to make videos that are actually somewhat helpful rather than the useless garbage that I normally post on a more routine basis, and as part of that I was going to do a couple videos about chainsaws, so how to tune one up, how to troubleshoot it if something goes wrong, how to use one properly and safely so that you're not putting yourself at risk. But I borrowed this one from my dad. It definitely hasn't been run in years, and every time I thought I was ready to start it up, something else was wrong with it. So basically, I just have 2 hours of incoherent footage of me trying to start it up, and it looks something like this. So for some strange reason, you thought I was exaggerating? Yeah, I wish I was.
Oh, right. As you can see, this is going exactly as I had planned it to.
That was problem number 1 with me making videos about how to use this thing. And problem number 2 is you shouldn't be getting instructions on how to use a chainsaw from the internet. Because quite frankly, these are extremely dangerous pieces of equipment. If you don't know how to use one properly, find someone who does know how to use it and have them train you. Don't just look at videos online, because there is a very serious chance that you might lose a hand if you do something wrong. But because I know you're going to ignore that advice, here's the top tips I can give to you. You absolutely need proper protective gear. So steel-toed boots, I got leather gloves on. Leather chaps are preferable as well, but at a bare minimum, some really thick pants. It's gonna make an absolute mess and ruin whatever clothes you're wearing, so don't wear clothes you care about. Eye protection, and of course, ear protection as well. And the number 1 rule when using a chainsaw is don't touch the blade to anything you care about. Because in the event that that blade gets in a fight with anything it comes into contact with, whatever it touches is going to lose. But now that we have the disclaimers out of the way, let's get back to chopping stuff up. So in the spirit of safety rule number 1, don't touch the blade, I first gave myself a little bit of extra space by moving away my patio set, just so I had a bit better maneuverability and I wasn't worried about tripping on things. And with that sufficiently relocated, we began chopping away all of this excess overgrowth. And in the theme of giving myself as much space as possible to work with, I'm trying to chop away the branches that stick out the most, peel away a few at a time so they're not going to fall down later and hit me in the face while I've got a running chainsaw in my hand, and then chip away at the next section after I've cleared out the first stuff that's already detached. And what you can't see is that behind all this growth is a metal wire fence, and I didn't want to touch that, so you'll notice that I'm doing the stuff that sticks out farther first. That way I can build up some confidence, I get a little bit more familiarity with this saw before I'm doing the really close cuts that are a lot higher risk. And while this probably doesn't look like much in time lapse, let me just say, using a chainsaw is way more fun than it probably should be. It's like if you took pure testosterone and compacted it into an afternoon activity, that's what running a chainsaw is. Like, it has no reason being as fun as it is because all you're really doing is yard work, but it's like the most manly, fun version of yard work, and it's just raw power in your hands, and oh my god, I lost a leg. Nah, I'm just kidding, but that's what could happen if you happen to screw up. I guess the point I'm making here is that even though you might be having fun with a chainsaw, you have to stay focused, you have to stay alert, and this thing is seriously dangerous. It's constantly spewing oil, it's spewing wood chips everywhere, it's gonna send stuff flying all over the place. This is a very serious and very dangerous piece of equipment, and don't do stupid things with it unless you want a really stupid and potentially deadly outcome. And I know full well that even though I say this, a lot of you just don't realize how quickly something can go very, very wrong. So here, let me show you in real time just how fast the blade can fly off of a chainsaw. So let me say this again. Chainsaws are very dangerous. They can hurt you, they can kill you. Pay attention, wear the proper protective gear, stay alert while you're working with it. The blade flying off is something I had not planned for, and very fortunately, it didn't hit me and I did not get injured in any way. Or worded differently, for the first time ever, I got extremely lucky when something could have gone extremely wrong. And that's not a complaint, I will absolutely take that victory. Now, I already had plans this night, so I didn't have time to fix the chainsaw and continue going, but we already made a ton of progress. As you can see, these shrubs were extremely thick, and this thing did a phenomenal job cutting down several limbs, but none that were attached to me. This is just the pile of all the branches that I had chopped off, and it's roughly 8 to 10 feet tall and somewhere between 10 to 14 feet in diameter, which, if you're not sure, is a lot. Like a lot. But unfortunately, I'm not allowed to burn this because I'm within city limits, so we'll have to figure out how to get rid of this on another day. Now, I made a video on how to repair the chainsaw as well, but again, I'm not going to do that because I ran into more issues than I did helpful content, which means that this is probably a good stopping point for this episode, and we'll resume next time when I tell you how to cut down an actual tree, because these were all just little bushes. But if you find yourself using a chainsaw, have fun, but please, for the love of God, be safe with it. And by be safe, I mean, don't touch the blade, because apparently I need to keep saying that to you people. And also, don't touch the blade to the fence. And also wear protective gear. On second thought, maybe you just shouldn't use a chainsaw. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.